Welcome to the Hammer Jammer podcast, the podcast where I talk to myself about football, probably rant about the Broncos, and hopefully you sit here and listen to me rant about the Broncos and football. This is the most haphazard way to make a podcast. I'm filming this on Thursday night right after the Jags and Jets. Jags win, obviously. Plenty of thoughts about that. Maybe I'll make a video about Zach Wilson and the Jets and their whole situation, but I'll save that for another thing. Haphazard. Haven't done this all season. Haven't done this. I started in the middle of the week. But I was thinking, I wanted to pick the rest of the games for this week. So I'm going to do it. So I figure I'll pick the games for this week, and maybe we'll do it next week. Who knows? I mean, with how haphazard this has been, we don't know what comes next. I found this handy-dandy ESPN website. I don't know if you've heard of them. To be able to pick these games. Obviously, we're not picking the Jags and Jets because, like I said, I'm a little bit late to the party. I'm a little bit late to the party on this whole thing. So we'll just move on. First game we're going to do is the Bills and the Bears. Bills coming off a win against the Dolphins, 32-29. Solid win. What do you expect from them? They've been hot all season. Bears, not so much. Interesting fact about these two teams is both these teams' leading rusher is their quarterback. So maybe get these guys some help. But enough talk. I'm going to pick the Bills here, as along with 97 people. Yes, I'm a sheep. I'm picking the Bills to beat the Bears. Fields will make us some great highlights, but he's not going to be enough to overcome the Buffalo Bills. Moving on to the New Orleans Saints at the Cleveland Browns. It's an interesting one is the Saints, been up and down. Obviously, they're still somehow in contention for the division. Someone, please win that division. The Browns, on the other hand, they're coming off a win against Baltimore. That was just an ugly. Whoop, I knocked something off my desk. It's staying on the floor for the rest of this video. Browns coming off an ugly win against the Ravens. Deshaun Watson did not look good. The whole team just really didn't look good. I mean, the defense played well, but it was against a fourth, third string quarterback they were playing. They've been up and down. Deshaun Watson looked rusty, and I would love to pick against the Browns. But I'm going to go with the Browns, unfortunately. And I think the Saints can win this game, but I think a big key to this game is Marshawn Lattimore. He ended up on the injury report today. It's questionable. If he's out, that's going to be tough for the Saints to handle, I think. Amari Cooper, obviously. But if he's in, maybe look for the upset here. But under the assumption that he's not playing, I'm going to pick the Browns, unfortunately. Moving on to the Texans and the Titans. Titans, I know a lot of people have compared them to never seen a team that led the division, that's leading a division in a playoff spot, look like they want to lose so badly. The Titans are just up and down all over the place. And by all over the place, I just mean bad the last 4 weeks. Coming off an ugly game against the Chargers, we had some moments. Ryan Tannehill, though, not going to be playing in this game. It will be Willis, and that's a concern for me. I mean, you look at Willis' stats in this season, he has been much less than serviceable. I mean, he hasn't eclipsed 80 yards passing in a single game this season. Even on the ground, his best game was 40 yards on the ground. He's only averaging 4.7 yards per attempt. They might be able to do that similar script they did as the Texans. He did beat the Texans before, 17-10. But you talk about those Texans that are coming off of two close losses, Chiefs in overtime, Dallas. The right pick is probably the Titans, but I don't know. Maybe this draft Driscoll magic QB weirdness is going to pan out and they finally close out a game. I'm going to give Texans fans something. The Titans are just reeling now without Tannehill. I know Willis beat him before, but I'm going to take the Texans in this one. Moving on, we got the Seahawks and the Chiefs. Seahawks coming off a game against the 49ers. I'm sure they'd like to forget. 2 straight losses now for them. They've only won one of their last 5 games. Chiefs, on the other hand, another game I think they'd like to forget, even though they won, barely making it out of Houston alive there. I do think that the Chiefs are going to win this one. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, just too much for the Seahawks defense. And, Geno Smith has been a great story this season, but I think that against a team like the Chiefs, it's just a little bit too much. Though I think, the Seahawks may have found their franchise quarterback, maybe. I don't know. I guess time will tell, right? Next, we got New York Giants at the Minnesota Vikings. Big game for the Giants, not so much for the Vikings, of course. Obviously, coming into this game, Giants coming off a close win to over the Commanders. That was definitely pass interference in the end zone. Different topic. Vikings coming off the largest comeback in regular season history. I don't know what else you can say about that, so I'm just going to keep moving on. But I do think the Vikings handle this game. Brian Daboll is determined to drag the Giants to victory, but I think the Vikings are they got something special. Kevin O'Connell has he's got that magic sauce that's getting that team rolling, and they're gonna make the playoffs. Are they gonna go far in the playoffs with that defense? Time will tell, but for now, yeah, they get a win. Next, we got the Cincinnati Bengals at New England Patriots. Bengals coming off a win over the Bucs. Not as impressive a comeback as the Vikings, but still, pretty solid comeback for the Bengals. First half was not too great for them, but they managed to turn it around, get it going to the second, 134-23. Now that's, they've really turned their season around up to 10-4. They're leading the division. Patriots. Where do I start? So, if Jacoby Myers doesn't throw the ball to a defensive lineman as time expires instead of going to overtime, I think the Patriots might only lose by 14 points, maybe. The defense has been fine this season. It's been, the defense is always good with a Belichick team, but this offense has been lethargic. I saw this one thing that was saying that the Patriots have the most predictable offense in the entire NFL, and you're playing in a league with the Denver Broncos, and your offense is worse. Give it to the Bengals. They're gonna keep rolling. Up to the Lions, Panthers. Both these teams have playoff aspirations. Lions trying to sneak in as a wild card. Panthers obviously can still technically win the division. It's a mess. Lions coming off 3 straight wins, beat the Jets 20-17. I think the Lions are just going to keep rolling, honestly. The Panthers, I don't know where to put them right now. They play good defense. They run the ball, but it wasn't, it's kind of I don't know what to feel about the Panthers right now. Lions have that momentum. Dan Campbell is hilarious. He's great. And I hope they make the playoffs. And I'm going to pick them for this game. On to the Falcons and the Ravens. Baltimore coming off that ugly loss to Cleveland. And I just saw Lamar Jackson has been ruled out for another game. So I was going to take the Ravens. I really was going to take the Ravens when I started this video. I think the Falcons might pull this off. I'm going to pick the Falcons. Call it a hunch. Call it stupidity. We'll find out. But I think the Falcons, and the reason I think the Falcons is, Desmond Ridder, second game starting. Saints are a very, very challenging defense. They managed to put up 18. Ravens, another challenging defense. The way that Cleveland suffocated that offense. I mean, the Falcons don't have a great defense. But I do think that they will probably be able to do enough against the backup to slow that team down and get enough points. Moving on to the Commanders, 49ers, this game. I want the Commanders to make the playoffs. I said this about another team too, but they're not going to win this game. I mean, the 49ers are that rare offense for a team that the quarterback is one of the least important players on the team, it feels like. You plug in anyone to that offense and it feels like a working. I mean, no, that's no shade on Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, being really taking on that role in a big time way. But 49ers defense and Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, just, oh my goodness. And it's that whole team is just scary as all heck. And I don't think the Commanders are going to be able to overcome that with their with Heineke and prayers. So 49ers going to take that one. Eagles, Cowboys is another interesting one. Obviously, no Jalen Hurts for this one, which is funny because both times these teams have played, one of the teams is backup quarterback was starting. But Gardner Minshew will be starting this one. And Gardner Minshew, historically, not a bad quarterback. He's actually 41 touchdowns, 12 interceptions in his career. He's a 63% career passer. I mean, he's a great backup, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him pull out this win. I mean, the Cowboys are a team that is very hard to put a finger on. I mean, they absolutely sandblast the Vikings. Then they barely beat the Giants. Then they are back and forth and close with the Colts, and it's a close game, and then all of a sudden just it's 54-19. And then they barely beat the Texans. And then they lose to the Jags. So it's the every other week thing. I think they might lose to Gardner Minshew. I am going to pick them to win. But just know, if Gardner Minshew, can play consistently, if he can avoid turnovers, that team has a very solid chance to win. Another thing to notice in this game is Micah Parsons is questionable. That's huge. If there's no Micah Parsons, I think Eagles win. If Micah Parsons is playing and they get to Gardner Minshew, I'm going to have to take the Cowboys. I'm going to take the Cowboys at this moment. Probably going to live to regret that one. Going on next, we have the Raiders and the Steelers. Raiders getting their butts saved by Jacoby Myers' stupidity in the last seconds of last week. Steelers beating the Panthers to sort of save Brady for once another week. Was that English as a sentence? We're going to go with it. Steelers, both teams 6-8, and both teams suck. One team sucks away, one team sucks at home. Honestly, this is one of my least favorite games of the week. I'm going to pick the Steelers. I do think Kenny Pickett coming back is going to give that team a boost. I think the defense is going to be able to stop Josh Jacobs enough. Devontae Adams is obviously an issue. How are they going to handle that? But it's Josh McDaniels. It doesn't really matter if he has the talent to win a game. He could probably, he'll choke it somehow. I mean, the Raiders have won 4 of their last 5. I will give the credit where credit is due. But this is a very streaky team. It's always been a streaky team. And they've been streaking, they snuck out of New England, another tough defense with a bad offense. I think I'm going to give this one to the Steelers. Next up, Packers at Dolphins. Packers coming off 2 back-to-back wins, this time beating the Rams. Dolphins coming off a tough loss to the Bills, 3 straight losses. And my heart of hearts wants to see the Packers. This is like the 3rd time I said this in this video. My heart of hearts wants to see the Packers win. Mostly because I want to see Tom Grassi lose his mind about them making the playoffs. And I want to see that. Yeah, that's my only reason for really wanting the Packers to win. Now, do I think they're going to win this game? No, sorry, Tom. Dolphins, they got Tua, they got Raheem Mostert, they got Tyreek Hill, they got Jalen Waddle, and the Packers don't have a defense. In case you didn't notice, I don't know. I think the Cinderella story will be over if they lose this game, which is a shame. They won't be able to sneak in. I know a lot of people won't mind seeing Aaron Rodgers miss the playoffs, but I for some reason won't mind. Dolphins win this one. I think the receivers just too much for this team to handle, and Rodgers puts up a good fight, but just not enough. On to my favorite game of the week. Well, actually, no, that's a lie. Probably going to be my second least favorite game of the week, behind the just ahead of the Raiders. The Broncos take on the Rams. My wife's a Rams fan, so someone in this house is going to be upset after this game. But I don't think it's going to be me. The Broncos have been putrid all season. They've eked out a win against the Cardinals. It only took playing the backup quarterback and the ghost of Cliff Kingsbury to win. Hey, but a win's a win. They don't ask you how. They ask you how many. And currently the Broncos have 4. So, that's about the win total I thought the Broncos would have after like week 5. But hey, some years aren't your year. Rams coming off a loss to the Packers, as we mentioned before. Obviously, you got Baker Mayfield in. Baker Mayfield, great story. But I want to see him succeed with the Rams. But I think the Broncos' defense is just going to be too suffocating. If the Packers could shut their offense down, I think the Broncos' defense will. Russell Wilson's coming back, which I don't know if that gives me more or less confidence when it comes to the Broncos' offense. I have zero confidence in this Broncos offense. In fact, I wish I could just not pick either of these teams. I will be a homer and pick the Broncos purely for the defensive standpoint. But the Broncos are 1-6 away on away games this season. So, and it's Russell Wilson and it's Nathaniel Hackett. So who knows? If you have a choice not to watch this game, that's probably the better choice. Down to our final 2 games, we got the Bucs and the Cardinals. Another game that if you have an option to not watch, you should probably not watch, because another 2 teams that just aren't very fun to watch this season. Bucs, they had them in the first half, not gonna lie. That second half fell apart. Bengals win, 2 straight losses for the Bucs. Cardinals coming off of 4 straight losses. They fired their coach. They don't have a quarterback. I think they're still on Trace McSorley. This team's a mess. Bucs are going to win this one, and they're going to somehow stay in first in the NFC South. And live to fight another day. And Tom Brady will continue to haunt all of our souls for eternity. So the final game, we have the game of the historical losers, Chargers and the Colts. Chargers coming off a win against Titans, which they did not look good at all on offense for the entirety of the game. But Justin Herbert, my goodness, coming up clutch. Brandon Staley, I don't know how long you're going to hang out on the Chargers, but you got your quarterback. I knew the Chargers had their quarterback after this first game. He just has so much talent. If they can just find a coach to put around him, they're going to be such a good team. And I'm going to cry many tears as a Bronco fan for the next 5 years. Yeah. Colts. Not much you can say about a team that just blew a 33-point lead. So I won't say anything. I do think the Chargers will win this game. They're just a better team all around. They got the better quarterback. They got the better, they got the better quarterback. They got the better receiving core. I think they got the better defense, and I would probably give them the better edge in coaching. So I'm going to pick the Chargers. So to review, Bills over the Bears, Browns over the Saints, Texans over the Titans, Chiefs over the Seahawks, Vikings over the Giants, Bengals over the Patriots, Lions over the Panthers, Falcons over the Ravens, 49ers over the Commanders, Cowboys over the Eagles, Steelers over the Raiders, Dolphins over the Packers, Broncos over the Rams, let's go, Buccaneers over the Cardinals, and Chargers over the Colts. Those are my picks. We'll find out how poorly I do. Hopefully I do great. But if I don't, we'll try again next week. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's kind of a... What's the word? It's kind of a divergement. It kind of strays from what I usually post on this channel, which is sports gameplay videos, very, very, very spaced out between because... but maybe I'll turn this into a podcast channel. I'll talk about the Broncos and football and sports, and maybe you'll listen, maybe you won't. But if you do, if you like it, like the video, subscribe, all that crap. And I kind of enjoyed this, so I might do another video. It's 12 o'clock. I should go to bed.